guys, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 2 of my comic blog where I will be talking about the 3 main settings that will appear in my comic. This is part 3 where I will be talking about the Fae folks. I've already posted part 1 and part 2, part 1 being the humans and part 2 being the beast folks. If you're interested in learning about them, I'll definitely link the videos down in the description or somewhere in this video. I'm recording this the same day that I did the Beast folks, so a bit of a fair warning. I still have a pretty bad migraine. I took some painkillers to dull the pain out, but it's still there, and if I sound slow or drowsy, you know why. So I'm not gonna hold you guys for too long. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Alright, so with with this drawing of the Fae folks, I'm gonna be straight up honest. This was definitely the most stressful out of all the 3 because I originally had this idea where I wanted to draw basically a big tree with like civilization down in its roots, I guess. So when I thought about that, and then I was also in a time crunch, so when I was trying to draw out some ideas of how I can create the composition for this drawing, it definitely put me in a mental breakdown, I guess. I was extremely burnt out, and I was kind of dreading, like, will I ever finish this speed paint at all for this video? And so to basically break out of this burnout and just being like, screw it, this is what I'm gonna be doing, I decided to pretty much take like a portion of the Fae folk setting that will be in my comic, and that portion is basically the inside of a tree with a gazebo, which you can see right here. This gazebo is pretty important to the comic, and so I thought maybe I should draw this and call it a day and not stress myself out too much with this. So obviously what truly inspired me to create the Fae folk land are D&D, like D&D's Feywild, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, kind of more so like forgot the name, like Galadriel's home, and then also the Mirkwood woods as well. And then I was also inspired by Berserk, specifically where they went to Elfhelm, the land of the elves, and more of the Fae-like creatures. So while I was deciding on what I wanted the Fae folkland to look like, I definitely didn't want to go for more of the very fantastical, kind of like the Feywilds, where it's super fantastical, where nothing really makes any sense type of deal. I wanted to be kind of like more nature, I guess. Like if you just look up Elfhelm, Berserk, that's basically what I wanted it to look like. Of course I'm not gonna copy word for word, but that's basically what I was trying to go for. So a brief description of the Faes. The Faes consists of basically like the elves, dwarves, pixies, and anything that you think of that are more Fae-like. So with the Faes, they were the ones that decided to basically find a home where no one will ever find them. So it's sort of kind of like a out of sight, out of mind. So it's not necessarily that they create a portal and then they're in a different dimension. No, it's kind of like a they're still in the same plane. Like I said, they're out of sight, out of mind. And basically magic, like their own magic, is protecting the Faes from ever being discovered. They definitely have the upper hand when it comes to having more magical powers than the humans. But like I mentioned in episode 2 part 1, the humans have these sins and virtues on their side, and so if they were to go to war, they're basically at a huge disadvantage, and the Faes, or at least the leaders of the Faes, don't want to put their own people in danger, so they just decided to leave. So similar to also with the beast folks, because they are nature based and they care so much about nature. They definitely are more aggressive about strangers. They will not hesitate to threaten anyone who trespasses into their home and will force them out with violence if necessary. I feel like the Fays are definitely a bit more strict and more aggressive towards outsiders specifically, especially with their experience with humans and being driven out of their homes. But that's basically the brief description for the Fays. The Fays I definitely put in a lot more because like it's Fae folks. I feel like you can be super creative with like the elves, dwarves, and pixies and just go all out. And so I definitely had a lot of fun creating some ideas on how they look and how they act, and sort of like another like a hierarchy that I've also came up with the help of my husband, and then he also helped me with the dwarves as well, which I will definitely go into in a future video. And if you guys are very interested in hearing or learning about the character designs of the Fae folks, definitely let me know, because this one is I definitely would like to do that. So with the drawing that I decided to go with, like I said, I went with a gazebo and with like tree branches behind it, basically indicating that this gazebo is inside of the tree, probably like at the top where you can see more of the branches rather than inside the the trunk of the tree or whatnot. And so I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to compose this drawing. I just, like I said, I was so stressed out that I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do whatever. So I guess it's also free reign, but I definitely didn't have much fun with this one as I did with the Beast Folk setting. So I wanted the gazebo to be the main focus because in the comic it'll be very important and you'll definitely learn more about it. And so I made it the center point, and then to make sure that this is the focal point, I decided to make it stand out with like more of that white and blue color to it, whereas everything else is more kind of like nature as drawing, or nature as colors like browns, greens. And then I decided to also add a bit of butterflies because, you know, I gotta make it look pretty. Alright, that's what I thought. So I basically kind of, with the techniques, I basically just took everything that I've learned from the previous drawings and incorporate into the phase. The one thing that I definitely struggled with was the leaves in this drawing. I just kind of went like, F it, let me just like put something together, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of that. I feel like I could have done better with a different sort of technique, or at least still keep the same technique, just kind of changing the colors a bit more, because it unfortunately stands out too much than the rest. It's not what I was actually trying to go for, because I wanted the gazebo to stand out more, and I think the leaves kind of was fighting for that. And yeah. Speaking of the gazebo, the inspiration I went with that, I had to look up like Rivendell and how the architectures kind of feels very elegant in its elements, and so I was trying to basically create that with some of that elements into it to give it more elf-like, because I wasn't quite sure how I didn't want this gazebo to be your typical modern gazebos that you see here in modern times. I wanted to feel more fantastical, elvish-like, and so I thought of Rivendell immediately, and so that's what I came up with. I like it. There's definitely some changes I wanted to make with this one in the near future, because I feel like some of it didn't really quite make much sense. So kind of like the little I can't even describe it. Kind of like that crisscross, I quote unquote crisscross, that I have like drawn on the sides. I'm not a big fan of it. I should have just made it either less crisscrossy or just don't have it there at all. I'm not quite sure, but I'll definitely gonna make some changes to it in the near future to where I'm happy with it. Not saying I hate it. I don't hate the gazebo at all. I think it's very pretty. I was definitely on the right track when I wanted it to be very elegant. And as for the tree branches, I definitely made them a bit too chunky. Unless, well, actually, I think it makes sense for them to be chunky considered the perspective of that I chose for this drawing, because again, I wanted like to draw like a big tree, and since I couldn't do that, I decided to just draw like a scene that appeared in my head that this gazebo's inside the tree. So if anything, I feel like the tree trunk should be a bit more thick. I don't know. I do like the shading that I've done with it. I think ever since I've shaded the trees in the Beast Folk drawing, I started incorporating that into this drawing, and I actually ended up liking a lot with the results. So that's pretty much all I can think of when doing my research and doing this drawing. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and I will see you at the end. And here is the final result of the Faith Folk setting. I'm gonna be honest, I am a little disappointed that the original idea that I had in mind never come to fruition, but definitely in the future it will. I just gotta put in some more practice when it comes to landscaping, and then I can finally do that vision I had in mind into life, I guess. Definitely with this drawing, I've used everything that I've learned technique-wise in creating the final result of this drawing. I did forget to mention that for me to feel like this gazebo is like an important piece, I decided to give it more like a glowing effect, so it kind of feels magical and mystical in a way. Thankfully I didn't make it too bright, and I also did the same thing with the butterflies, because I feel like if this is the Fae land, I wanted to incorporate some sort of magical essence, so I made the butterflies glow. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy this video. This basically ends the episode 2. So I will see you guys in episode 3. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and hope to see you again. Bye bye.